Hello, today's Bible study comes from the book of Colossians, chapter 3, and we'll be going over verses 12 through 14, and they read as follows. Therefore, as God's chosen people, holy and dearly loved, clothe yourselves with compassion, kindness, humility, gentleness, and patience. Bear with each other and forgive one another if any of you has a grievance against someone. Forgive as the Lord forgave you. And over all these virtues put on love, which binds them all together in perfect unity. Well, as we see here, Paul is still speaking, and he's talking about our characteristics. And these characteristics are the characteristics that come from us being somebody new. And this passage, these verses say it just as it should be. We are somebody new. He says, therefore, as God's chosen people. We are no longer of the world. We are God's chosen people. And then it shows us not only are we God's chosen people, but it tells us that the Lord claims us. He says, holy, we're holy and we're dearly loved. And then he says something that relates to us. He says, clothe yourselves. And he's saying, get rid of what you had and put on this. Put on this outfit. And this outfit for us is difficult if we don't have God. And he says, clothe yourself with compassion. Ooh. That means it's not about you. It's about someone else. See, we want to be compassionate. And Paul says, you should wear this. This should be on you. So he says, put it on. You should have it with you. This is part of your new outfit. And then he says, also put on kindness. And this kindness goes with another act of you being selfless. The Lord was kind to us. The Lord has been compassionate to us. And we don't even deserve it. So put it on and practice it. Even with those you may think don't deserve it. Paul says that's part of your outfit. Then he says, put on some humility, and that's big. Humility truly is the cover for long suffering and for being meek. That humility has a action that shows through meekness. Okay? We do not want to be domineering. We do not want to be overbearing. We want to do all our actions in love. And watch how he wraps this up. And then he says, long suffering. Or it goes with long suffering. We got to suffer. And then he tells us about gentleness and patience. Why gentleness and patience? Why not something else? Because the Lord has been gentle with us. He has been patient with us. You are his people now. You do his ways now, and your heart has to change. And this is the mindset of Christ himself. So if you're going to be Christ-like, you got to do Christ-like things. This is the goal of every disciple of Christ. We want to show these things. We want to be these things. So Paul is telling us how the new man is to change and how the new man is to be. And then he goes on and he says, bear with each other. Uh-oh. In case you're wondering, that means put up with somebody. Put up with them. And forgive one another. Uh-oh. We don't like to forgive. You know us, holier than thou saints, disciples. We'll say we forgive, but in our hearts and in our actions, we don't forgive. But Paul says, bear with each other. That's good and bad. And forgive one another. Uh-oh. If any of you has a grievance against someone. So if you got a problem with someone, you're supposed to forgive them. And then he says, you don't do it because of them. You do it because the Lord forgave you. And he says it, forgive as the Lord forgave you. Look at Ephesians 4:39. It will say the same thing about 4:32. It will say the same thing about kindness. We do these things because we have received these things. And how can we be Christ-like and walk like Christ and not act like Christ? We can do these things. But, you know, in verse 14, Paul cleans it up and he says, and over all of these virtues, put on love. Uh-oh. Put on love. If you ain't doing this, if you say I forgave them, but you don't love them, if you still holding that grudge, if you still mad, if you don't show compassion, if you don't have kindness, you truly don't have the love. Because this love is what binds them all together so that they work in perfect unity. Christ forgave us in love. Christ died for us in love. You will know his disciples by their love. Faith, hope, charity, which is love. The greatest of these is love. See, you have to understand, when you put on Christ's clothes and you claim to be a disciple and you claim to be all these things, there is some work that goes with that. And when you put on Christ-like, then you got to start acting Christ-like. We all do. Amen.